students, good morning. I am Dr. Tamilmani, Professor of Botany, ANNAMALAI University. Now I will discuss about the introduction about pteridophytes and general characteristic features. Pteridophytes, what is pteridophytes? Before that, starting pteridophytes, we can see science. So what is science? Science is nothing but a systematic knowledge of facts and truth. Science further classified into physical science and biological science. Physical science deals with non-living objects, while biological science deals with living things. Biology is study of living beings. Bios means life, and locus means discourse. What is life? Life is nothing but a birth to death. Psychologically, life is nothing but a combination of body and soul. Chemically, it is nothing but a biochemical process. Okay. Next, plant groups. Plant kingdom. Plant kingdom divided into cryptogams and phanerogams. Where the cryptos means hidden, gamos means marriage, phaneros means visible, gamos means marriage. The cryptogams further divided into thallophytes, bryophytes, pteridophytes. Thallophytes, the plant is not divided into root to stem roots, it is a thalloid nature. While bryophytes, it is an amphibious nature, it is dealing with water and lands. Pteridophyte is a first land plants. Pteridophyte is a first land plants where the conducting system is there. Where the conducting system is there. It is a vascular cryptogams. It is otherwise called vascular cryptogams. The pteridophyte is otherwise called tracheophyta. Pteridophyte is otherwise called tracheophyta because of presence of tracheids. Okay. The phanerogams, phaneros means visible, gamos means marriage, where it is divided into gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnas means naked, sperma means seed, angios means vessels, and sperma means seeds. Next title, general characteristic feature of pteridophytes. Pteridophytes are vascular cryptogams and were abundant in Devonian period of Paleozoic era. It is found as a fossil and living forms. That is what we call the extinct and extinct forms. Extinct and extinct forms. It is long fossil history. It has a long fossil history because it is present in the Devonian, Silurian and Devonian period of Paleozoic era. It is well appreciated in the Carboniferous period. Well appreciated in the Carboniferous period. So that the Carboniferous era is the age of pteridophytes. Age of pteridophytes. Next, occurrence, habitat, distribution of the pteridophytes. It is mostly found in the shady, moist places of tropics and subtropics. Habitat small, herbaceous, and some species are large trees. Come to morphology of sporophyte. Morphology of it is diploid in nature and a dominant generation. Root lower forms possess rhizoids and higher forms possess adventitious roots. Stem monopodial and dichotomously branched, where leaves micropillus and megapillus, in which the leaves were fertile and sterile leaves are present, where the fertile leaves responsible for the formation of cone or stobilus, where the sporangium is present, and the sporangium produces spores after meiosis. Anatomy. The pteridophyte is a first land plants and because of the land plants it having a conducting system. The conducting system where presence of the tissues, the complex tissues, xylem and phloem is there. The stele is the central core of the stem and root. steel is present from simple protosteel to the advanced tictiosteels. Trachea elements are major conducting elements in the case of pteridophytes. Reproduction. What is reproduction? Reproduction is nothing but a visible product of invisible process. Reproduction is nothing but a visible product of invisible process, where the reproduction divided into vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is predominant in the pteridophytes. The sporophyll aggregate to form a cone or strobilus in lower forms, and in higher forms it is found as a soren. First, vegetative reproduction by means of fragmentation, resting buds, root tubers and adventitious roots. These are these. Asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction by means of production of spores simply, where the diploid sporophyte it produces the sporophyll or fertile leaves. The sporangium bearing organ is called sporophyll. The sporophyll, some cells of the here sporophylls, it produces a archisporial cells or sporangial mother cells. The sporangial mother cells divide periclinally and anticlinally to form a mass of cells in which the spore mother cell and sporangial wall cell is formed. After meiosis, the haploid spore is produced. The spore may be a homosporous or heterosporous. All spores are alike. It is a homosporous. It is different in size, small size and larger size. It is heterosporous. Small size is a microspore and larger size is a megaspore. The microspore developed from microsporophyll microsporangium, whereas the megaspore is developed from megasporophyll and megasporangium megaspores. Sporangium development of two types, leptosporangium development and eusporangium development, where eusporangium development is nothing but where the group of initials involved in the formation of the sporangium formations, while the leptosporangium single initial is the formation involved in the formation of the sporangium. Spore mother cells divide undergo meiosis and produce a haploid spores. The spore germinate to produce a haploid multicellular green cordate independent gametophyte called prothallus. The spore germination is two types. One is exosporic and another one is endosporic. Exosporic as the spore germinations occur outside the spore wall. Endosporic spore germinations occur within the spore wall. The endosporic spore germinations more productive, exosporic germination more vulnerable. After the germination, the gametophyte develops. The gametophyte is otherwise called prothallus in pteridophytes. It is a sexual generation where sporophyte is a asexual or vegetative space. The gametophyte may be a monoecious or dioecious. Monoecious means nothing but both sex organs present in the same thalli. Example, where you can see that the xylotum, like the lycopodium. The dioecious where both sex organs present in the different thalli, where the example, best example for Selaginella and Marsilia salvinia. The sex organ, the gametophyte bear the sex organs. Namely, the male sex organ is called antheridium and the female sex organ is called archegonium. The antheridium produce fierily coiled multiflagellate anthrozoites, while the archegonium is a flag-shaped with a broad venter and a narrow neck and ventral canal cell. It is a look like a flag-shaped structure where it is associated three regions: egg cells, ventral canal cells and the neck canal cells. The sexual reproduction occur advanced oogamous methods, where the sex organ is very familiar. The sex organs may be embedded or projected in the case of pteridophytes, where in the case of lower forms the sex organs embedded in the gametophyte, while the higher forms the sex organs may be projected. fertilization and embryo development. Water is essential for fertilization, where the male and the female gametes fuse to form a embryo. After fertilization, it shows a diploid zygote. It shows a diploid zygote. The zygote divide pericline, the first divide transversely upper cell or epiphyseal cell, lower cell or hypophyseal cell. The further it is a divide vertically, it shows a 4 cell quadrangular cells. The upper cell responsible for the formation of root and shoots, while the lower cells act as a suspensor. The embryo development. Embryo development, two types, namely exoscopic and endoscopic. In the case of exoscopic embryo development, it's the zygote divide transversely, while the endoscopic the embryo development, zygote divide vertically, then transversely. Life cycle and alternation of generation. What is life cycle? But life cycle, all plant groups having a 2 generations. All plant groups having a 2 generations, namely the gametophyte generation and sporophyte generation. The gametophyte generation is dominant in the case of thallophytes and bryophytes, whereas sporophyte generation is more dominant in the case of pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. So that in the case of pteridophytes, in the plant body is called sporophyte. The sporophyte produce sporophytes, sporangium and spores after meiosis. The spore germinate to produce a gametophyte. The gametophyte may be a monoecious or dioecious. The homosporous forms mostly monoecious, the heterosporous forms mostly dioecious. The gametophyte produces 6 organs. In the 6 organs, male and female 6 organs. Male 6 organs produced anthrozoids and female 6 organs produced the egg cells. It used to form a zygote. The zygote, the diploid zygote is developed into a diploid sporophyte. This is what you call life cycle, where the alternating individuals similar, that is an isomorphic alternation of generation, where the alternating individuals is a dissimilar, that is a heteromorphic alternation of generation. In the case of pteridophytes, where the alternating individuals is dissimilar, because the sporophyte is divided into root, stem, leaf and a conspicuous elaborate plant body, where the gametophyte is a thalloid in nature, it is a heart shaped, it may be embedded or placed in externally, which possess some lower forms possess and endophytic mycorrhizas, higher forms possess having a chlorophylls and do photosynthesis. It is a heart shaped structure, it possesses and rhizoids. These gametophyte produces 6 organs and gametes fuse to form a zygotes. So that it is dissimilar in structure, hence the alternation of generation is heteromorphic alternation of generation. Next, spectrum of life. In the case of plant groups, the plant groups having 2 major categories, namely the cryptogams and phanerogams. Cryptogams having thallophytes and bryophytes, pteridophytes, where phanerogams having gymnosperms and angiosperms. All plant groups possess namely the generations. Next, in the thallophytes and bryophytes, the gametophyte generation is a dominant, while the pteridophyte, gymnosperm, angiosperm, sporophyte generation is dominant. In the case of pteridophyte, the gametophyte and sporophyte are independent in nature because both gaze doing photosynthesis and synthesis food materials. Whereas in the case of lower forms, especially algae, fungi, bryophytes, the gametophyte generation is dominant, the sporophyte is depending on the gametophyte. Whereas in the case of gymnosperms and angiosperms, the sporophyte generation is dominant, the gametophyte is dependent on the persistent parasite. That's all.